Welcome back to the Po2 podcast. I'm Jay,
And I'm Amber.
and today we're going to review the latest and greatest episode of all time so far, season 4, episode 5,
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Sandwich.
which was written by Joey Falco, our fave.
I can send you back in time.
It sounds kind of fun.
Could you tell us what year it is?
1926.
I actually lost them.
This is a private party. Time to go.
We're the entertainment.
Hey, sister, go, sister, so. Hey, sister.
What did you think of this week's episode?
I loved it. I really, really liked it. I think it is one of my top 3, definitely in my top 3 of my favorite episodes in the reboot.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought that there was nothing in this episode that I didn't like. I thought that the writing was really good. I thought the script was good. I think this episode was directed by Rupert Evans.
Yeah, he
as
did.
well.
He did. That's why
Which
he
is kind of
wasn't.
exciting.
That's why he wasn't in last week's episode, because he was prepping for this one. When I first saw the opening scene, I thought, oh, here we go. Here's finally a bad episode. No offense to Joey, because I remember him tweeting about it, and even he knew it was a bad title, because I really, really hate the episode title. But having watched the episode, I totally get it. But anyway, the opening, I didn't know how I felt about it. I was ready to write the whole episode off because the opening just felt really, really forced and stupid. And I'm tired of I know that they're really trying to introduce all these magical creatures, but it's getting to the point where they all just look like normal people now. There's no magic or mystery or whimsy. There's nothing.
You mean the Hobgoblin?
Yeah, they're just walking around like regular people with regular jobs, and like it just takes there's nothing magical or supernatural about them. So for me, it's like, why introduce all these types of creatures if they're just going to be like your average Joe? It looked to me like they were living in some trailer or cabin or something.
Yeah. I don't know, because the episode started off with he was just like listening to all these like stuff that the Italian man had.
Yeah, he was listening to his like little, what was it? It was some magical device that kind of looked like a smartphone, except it was the thing from last episode, but I forget what it's called. And he was kind of just obsessively watching like the same stuff being told about the charmed ones, that they were lazy and didn't care. It kind of reminded me of the original show when Billy and Christy convinced the magical community to turn against the charmed ones.
How could this happen?
Yeah. So we had the introduction scene, which was kind of blasé. But to be honest, I wasn't that bothered about it. It didn't really bother me that much.
Well, yeah, compared to the rest was phenomenal.
So then we got, what happened after that? I can't even remember.
After that, Mel is practicing her time travel, and I was right. I'm calling it. Well, I mean, I'm owning the fact that I predicted right. Like, I called that she was going to develop time travel, and it's faster than what I thought. Way faster than what I thought. I had no idea it was going to be like this, but I was pretty much spot on. I knew that her power was going to be able to develop into sending people back in time or forward in time. So the fact that that was the entire plot of this episode, and it's only episode 5, I'm pretty sure that it's going to lead into her going back in time to save her baby.
That was really interesting to me, though. That was really interesting to me. Like, I was looking at the sandwich. First of all, can we talk about how good the sandwich looked?
That was a big fucking sandwich.
That was huge.
I don't know if it was a real sandwich. Like, that was a huge sandwich.
Hell yeah.
And she sent it back in time to the previous episode, and then she went back and got it.
Yeah. So that's her power now. I mean, in just one episode, she was able to not only send things back in time, but send her consciousness back in time to retrieve things, which is like godlike, in my opinion. That's something more powerful than even the OG Charmed ones could do. That's a really, really huge power. I don't know how that's gonna play out. Like I said, I think they're gonna limit it or say something like she can't do it as much as she'd want to, or I don't know, but it's going to be really, really convenient for her to have that power.
Further along in the episode, I can't remember what happens, but I remember.
Well, I wrote notes. Right after that, we see Mel talk with Ruby and find out that she's with Swan.
Oh my God. When that scene came on and I saw her with, like, I actually shouted, oh my God. I'm not a big fan of Swan, but I thought it was like a way to kind of tie those two characters together. It was a way to kind of bring Swan back because I
I didn't
don't really
even
feel
I,
like
I didn't even miss Swan. Like I completely forgot about her. You know what I noticed about this season? So they are still set in Seattle and safe space still exists, but there's hardly any safe space scenes.
What do you mean they're in safe space most of the
The
episode?
command center. the
Yeah,
com-
but they went into Spellbound Botanica.
it,
That's where Ruby was doing the.
no, I know that, but I'm saying it doesn't feel like season 2 and 3 where they're in safe space and you can see like the people bustling around and all the businesses and all the woke people like going to work. Like you don't see that anymore.
Or the woke people. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like that about season 2 and 3, but in season 4, it's like it's a good balance. Like, it still exists, but they're not obsessed with it anymore.
I didn't miss Swan. She was my least favorite character. I think we said during season 3 that we sort
Yeah.
of felt like she was just there to kind of.
She was just there to embody safe space. She's
Yeah.
literally the embodiment of safe space. And that's why we didn't care for her because safe space sucks.
So it looks like Spellbound Botanica is no more. That they're now using it as a. Ruby said she's using it for like LGBTU.
Yeah, she's turning it into like I think a temporary homeless shelter because the place she was working at closed down due to like zoning issues. So,
I miss, and this is what I will say. I do wish that Kat was on the show.
oh, the shop owner.
Yeah, Kat was the original owner of Spellbound Botanica, and she was a medium. She was in a couple of episodes of season 2, and she was like a love interest for Mel. And then she just pretty much disappeared. She had some like I can't even remember what the storyline was. It was something to do with like, was it her like mental health or something?
Honestly, I don't remember season 2. I just want to forget season 2.
They like wrote her off somehow.
He wrote her off because she had some like I think she had a bad reaction to a spell or something, and she had trauma. Like she was like psychologically scarred, something like that. Maybe we'll revisit it someday. Probably not, but but of all of Mel's exes or love interests, of all of them, I would prefer to see Jada or Nico. But on that note, other fans have asked about Jada, and apparently Joey confirmed that she will never be back on the show because the actress is moved on and she's actually doing really well for herself. She's starring on a new TV show, the Leverage reboot. So he said we should not expect to see her back on the show at all, which sucks for Jada fans. But on that topic, how many love interests is Mel gonna have? We're gonna jump around here a little bit because now apparently Mel is gonna get with Roxy. What do you think about that?
I thought, and I genuinely thought that the Roxy was going to turn out to be evil, and that so I didn't see it coming.
Well, see, like Roxy just comes off as like so much older, and I guess she is because she's lived for long, like a very, very long time, because of her life cycle, she has to sleep for like 7 years at a time or something. And, like a cicada. And she just gives off like, old vibes. And I don't know. I did not see her as a love interest. I did not see her as a love interest for Mel. So I was really confused by that. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I don't know if I like them together. I hope they just stop giving Mel a new girlfriend or two every season. This is like what, number 7?
Yeah, she has had quite a few love interests. But that being said, look at the OG charms. I mean, Phoebe went through a man every week. I mean, seriously, can't really blame them for doing similar thing
I
with
mean, wouldn't
Mel.
wouldn't you go through men like tissue paper if you could?
No.
I would.
Why?
Let's be honest. I would totally date around if I could.
I
You're a
mean,
different man every week.
what are
The
you like,
man buffet.
Samantha Jones or something?
I'd be at the man buffet, honey.
Yeah.
But back on topic. Um,
So Mel actually comes back from the command center and she finds Maggie looking through, I guess, the new book, the Book of Elders and the Book of Shadows. And I guess she's found out that the Tallyman spider has been in the house and basically been filming her. And they go out into the garden, go out to find Michaela, and they knock on the door, and there's a vibrating noise coming from the
oh my
bus.
God.
And so Maggie goes in there and she gets a surprise.
Yeah, apparently Kayla was masturbating. And I don't have a problem saying that because that's what they actually they talk about that. And I'm surprised because in the original show, they allude to things like that a lot, but they don't outright say it. And and I'm just surprised that they went there and like talked about it in full detail.
Like, I didn't expect
I know
that.
you even saw Kayla like zipping up her pants while she's talking to them.
Oh my God.
She's like, I need to draw and I'm stressing out. So
Wow.
but it's funny because like Mel's all cool with it and Maggie's like, I don't want to hear about it because you could be because she's probably my sister and it's like making her uncomfortable. But I like that they're both kind of already accepting that they may be sisters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all right, so we get back to the Blue Camellia and we see Jordan playing some type of like magical poker with the old lady twins from season 1.
Yeah. Rita and Nita. That's what they're called.
I like that. I really feel like season 4 is what season 2 should have been. And I tweeted that to Joey and I hope he responds or agrees or something.
Yeah. I really like the scene. It's nice to have them back on the show. It's nice to have that like connection.
There's been a lot of callbacks to season 1. When they got sent back in time, Maggie had a glamour potion with her. She says she carries it with her all the time. And that's actually in reference to season 1 in the Halloween
Well,
episode where she learned how to use the glamour spell. So that's a nice callback to season 1.
yeah, so basically the girls end up going back in time because Mel sends them back in time.
Yeah, like it kind of really jumps quickly into the main plot. They go to the blue camellia and they decide to talk to Roxy, and at the same time the dude from the opening, he comes in guns a blazing. He has these like crystals attached to his hands that will turn into a big bomb and kill everyone if he smacks them together. And Mel devises a plan to go back in time to get some rare ingredients to, well, no, she wants to go back in time to stop the attack, but she ends up going back in time even further into the 20s. She sends them back in time to the wrong decade, like almost 100 years earlier. But let me ask you this. Do you think like towards the end, um where you find out that the person that was spreading the misinformation was an actual literal troll. Do you think that all of this is kind of an allegory for like QAnon or Trump supporters? The way they were
Um,
talking about it, saying that like Mel was saying that, oh, they fear us, therefore the tally man is turning them against us.
yeah, I think they were kind of trying to like segue into that.
I was like, is the tally man Trump now?
Yeah,
Because nobody wants to hear about politics. And I felt like
no.
towards the end, it got a little bit political.
So back in the present,
Mhm.
Mel she's in the room with Roxy, and they put a containment spell on the room so that the bomber can't, get up there and get access to her. And they use a secret tunnel to basically maneuver around the building. And so they have a scene where it sort of alludes to them being like potentially could be an item. Roxy basically goes out there and says, "This is my fight," type thing. She goes out there and she tries to blow out one of the candles to smoke the bomber out. And all of the candles have turned red. And when she blows out one of the candles, one of the actual patrons in the bar dies in a really horrible way.
Because as it turns out, they actually come to the conclusion that there's someone else in the bar that's helping the bomber guy and working against the charm ones.
Yeah, and it turns out to be, we find out towards the end of the episode that it's actually,
Sonny the bartender.
yeah, which that scene really surprised me. And I didn't think that was her. I thought, oh, that's going to be the tally man and
There, I thought she
shapeshifter.
was for a minute there, I thought she was gonna morph into the tally man.
Mm. I liked her, like what she did. She has like this like claw hand thing that shoots out thorns.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of reminded me of the thorn demons from the
Yeah,
OG charm.
I was gonna say the same thing.
They didn't really like shoot them out the hands, they like spit them out the mouth, but it was kind of similar. So we got to see back in the past, we got to see a scene with Kayla and Maggie. They basically say that they're there as the entertainment because they have to blend in, and the Moose helps them blend in. And they go up on stage and they sing the Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, they sing Lady Marmalade, and I wish it went on longer because it wasn't bad. I definitely heard some auto-tune, but I guess that's just TV. And I mean, I'm just gonna point it out. I mean, the lip syncing wasn't that great. Probably because I watched so much Drag Race that I really pay attention to it.
Gay queen. Oh my God, okay.
But at the same time, it was good. I wish it went on a little bit longer. Someone on Twitter asked if there will be a full release or some sort of like release on available for download or streaming, and Joey said that because of the rights or whatever, they cannot release it as a single or something.
Maybe it was too much money, I don't know.
Could be probably a budget thing.
Mm.
But it's fine. I mean, like I
So
said, I just wish it went on longer. It was cute. It was a good moment. I wouldn't mind if they did a full-on musical episode, but I know that you have Buffy to compare it to, and Buffy did it best, but I really think that they should try it.
everyone in this show can sing, and that's crazy to me. We never got any singing moments in the OG chant, but
Because
on
none
this,
of
and
them
I
could sing.
yeah, but on this show, the girls can sing, like they
Mhm.
really can sing. We've got Sarah Jeffrey, she's a singer. We know that because she's released songs. Madeline Mantott could sing, she's got a lovely voice. Lucy Barrett can sing.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing Melanie Diaz sing, but I guess she kind of did during season 3, the last
Rupert
episode.
Rupert sounds like he'd have a nice singing voice. I don't know if he can sing or not, but
Oh, you've heard him sing in the Pixie episode
Just join hands and sing.
with a Pictionary.
he did like a note. I mean, he can hold a note. he would
Yeah.
sing.
Yeah. I like that episode. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So we got to see a scene where when the girls arrived at the Blue Camilla, there was a girl on stage and she was singing.
Mhm.
And it turns out that this woman is actually a muse.
Yep.
And I guess when she sings, it kind of makes the men go a bit, would you say, randy?
I think that it just magically affects people. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And
So
that,
like tore his shirt open and he had like spikes sticking up, and I thought, oh, all right then. That
yeah, it
was a
makes
bit,
them horny.
yeah,
But that brings the attention of the Vitra from 2 episodes ago or 3 episodes ago. Scary Poppins. It's the same one with Seymour in her little bag. She actually shows up and she wants to take out the muse because the muse is like affecting humans. And it's interesting because a lot of what happens, I like how this episode is written because a lot of the things that happen actually affected how the episodes start. Even this season, like the Vitra recognized Maggie. And if you go back and watch her episode, she remembers them.
yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things that I think it's the writers have been actually really thoughtful about
Exactly.
about the stories. And shout out to Joey Falco, because he really did deliver a good episode. And it feels like this episode felt like an episode of the reboot, but it also felt like an episode of the original. It
Yeah.
had a little bit of everything in there, and I think that when they do that, that is when the show works best. Is when they're doing like when they find their like middle sort of ground. You know, sometimes they try these new ideas and it doesn't always work, but when they do it in a way that is kind of within the realms of the way the OG show kind of did it, then it kind of finds its feet. It becomes a really good episode, I find anyway.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I'd rather they swing and miss than just do something safe and boring. It makes for a boring TV show. I'd rather they try something, like I'd rather the episode be fun because there's moments in this episode where like the opening wasn't that great. I think the plot overall was a little forced, like with the bomber and everything. It just seemed like a little bit too much, but it was such a fun episode. I really liked it.
So we got to see Mrs. What do you call her? Vitra.
Oh, Scary Poppins.
Yeah, Scary Poppins.
They kick her ass.
She came into the bar basically to get the moves, and Maggie was like, "Oh, you got to come through me first, bitch." And I thought that was really good. I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yes, you go, girl." So they had a fight, and the Vitra kicked Maggie's ass, and then she came to get the moves. Kayla kicks some ass. She got to use the sword. One of the things that I really wanted to see in this episode, because we got a shot of Mel with her sword weeks and weeks ago when they were filming this episode, and I was really excited because I thought, oh my God, they're going to give Mel a fight scene, because I loved the fight scenes that she had in season 1. She was really good. She definitely got in there, especially when she got her Ninja Ranger weapons and she was like running through time and like beating the shit out of Parker. I loved that. So I was excited when she got the sword, but we didn't get to see her use it.
Yeah, I remember when that picture came out, everyone said it looked like a lightsaber.
So we got to see
And yes, before and I wanted to point out, we find out that Camellia is actually Roxy's wife, and that's why the club is called Blue Camellia. And we can only assume that Camellia passed away because this was in the 20s. I guess muses might have human lifespans, so it sounds like that Camellia has since passed, and that's why Roxy is like open to being with Mel now.
Yeah, so the Vitcher leaves. She's had enough. She goes, and Mel uses her power. No, what happened? How did she?
Well, she chases the Vitra out, and the Vitra drops some cufflinks, and Maggie gives one of the cufflinks to Camellia so that she could perform without affecting people in the crowd. And then I think she gives the other cufflink to Michaela.
Yeah, and Michaela uses it to like uses it on her powers, well, basically, so she doesn't have her powers, and she uses it to paint something, doesn't she?
Yeah, she paints at the beginning of the episode, like when they start, before they go back in time, she notices these paintings and she's really drawn to them and she's wondering who drew them. And Roxy says that her wife put them there and she has them all over the club. And then as it turns out, Michaela is the one that actually painted them when she was in the 20s, and her and Camellia put them up, and they actually contain the message of where they are. And that's how, so it's interesting. It's like a loop. They wouldn't have gone in the past if they hadn't seen the date on the painting, but Mel wouldn't have been able to find them in the past if she didn't see the date on the painting. So it's like you don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, it's like that.
Yeah. And it sort of surprised me because I noticed that Michaela used the bracelet, the cuff on herself. So that indicates that they have powers back in time. If they go back, they actually have, they must have powers. Otherwise, the bracelet wouldn't have worked.
Right.
But if you look at that, when they went back to the was it there was no, it was the 80s. When they went back to the 80s, did they have powers then?
I thought it was the 90s.
I don't know, but I do know that in the original Charmed, when the girls went back in time, they didn't have their powers.
Right.
So, but if they went to the future, they did. I don't know how all that works, but I guess the mythology and the reboot is slightly different. Similar but slightly different.
Right.
So the episode ends with basically the girls come back and they save the day.
There's two sort of cliffhanger endings. One is Harry coming back from his magical mushroom journey, and he comes down from a portal into the bar right behind Roxy, and she looks at him with like this side eye, and he's like, "What did you do to me?" So I guess we'll find out next week where the hell he's been. I mean, we knew where he was, but I guess we'll find out what happened. And now I want to talk about the big scene at the end. Maggie has this special portrait that she got from her dad. Her dad found this magical portrait that if you drop your blood on it on the canvas, it'll a portrait of your biological parents will appear. So, which I think is really stupid. But again, it's fine for this show. But anyway, so something like this exists that Maggie just so happens to have access to, and it's at the end. It's ready for them in the attic. So they're in the attic. Maggie has the portrait all ready for Michaela to use, and Michaela puts her, sticks her finger and writes her, drags her finger all bloody across the canvas, and then they do like a spell or something, and we see what Michaela's biological parents look like. And as it turns out, it's not Marisol or Dexter or anyone we know. What did you think about that?
Well, I'm not convinced. I feel like there's going to be a twist there somewhere. I mean, it could be that on the face value, it could be that they are the parents, but knowing the show, they're probably going to like twist and turn it and stuff. I think there's going to be some more twists.
Yeah, I feel like it's too early for them to outright finalize who she is. I think because there's so many red herrings about it, like who left her at the station, like why did those parents leave her, um what does having cancer have to do with it? The one of the biggest theories is that because she had cancer, she may have had a bone marrow transplant, and Macy was the donor, which I really, really hate. I don't like that theory at all, but it sounds like it might be true because apparently Lucy said in an interview when the premiere came out, she said that Michaela survived leukemia, and that in and of itself has a really cool connection to the story and how she came to be a charmed one. So maybe that's exactly that. Maybe she has Macy's blood, and that's all there is to it. I really hope not, but
That would kind of mess with like the idea of the charm being about three sisters that are witches, but
and on top of that, if she did have Macy's blood, wouldn't she be part demon too?
yeah, that's another. Well, I don't know about that.
No, she still has
Maybe.
demon blood. She still has demon blood. She just got rid of her demon powers, but she's still part demon. And we saw in season 1 that having like her blood was demonic.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, I'm afraid.
So I'm really hoping that they did their homework and make it make sense, but it just made me a little sad because they were kind of already accepting her as sisters, and then for her to like be like, well, who am I then? That was kind of sad, but hopefully there's more to it, like you said.
Yeah. Oh, and also, I'm just going to edit this bit in. I really loved the spell that they did when they were doing the unveiling of or the reveal of Michaela's parents. I like the fact that the spell was in English and they were like holding hands. It was very like,
I love the song at the end. I gotta say that the song at the end, I loved it, loved it, loved it.
yeah, that was a really good song, I thought. It kind of reminded me of like Rain, and she's often in the Vampire Diaries. They often and Legacies. They use a lot of like music by Rain in some
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
scenes.
that's what it felt like. I feel like they're taking a lot of cues from Legacies or Vampire Diaries,
The
which is good.
Legacy.
The legacy.
Legacy. I really think that they do need to. I really do think that the team behind season 4, they're really paying attention to what works and doesn't work. And I really hope they come back for season 5 because I really do think it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I agree. So, what did you think of this episode? What would
So
you rate this episode?
I would rate it a 9 out of 10. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would give it a 9 point. Yeah, I'll just give it a 9. It was a really good episode. It's up there with some of my favorites for sure.
But I really, if you're listening to this and you want the show to get renewed, it's still up in the air. It has not been renewed or canceled yet. If you want it to get renewed, support the show by watching it on the CW website. You can watch it for free. There's ads, but that is the only way to really support it. If you're not watching live, watch it on the CW app. And yeah, hopefully it'll get picked up. I think the viewership has been overall pretty good. And the engagement from the fans and the writers, like there's a lot going on Twitter it's really positive. A lot of people are really liking the reboot, the new season of the reboot.
Yeah, it's definitely up from where it was before. I think the show has good people in charge of it now. I may not exactly agree with everything that they do. There's definitely been some moments that I've been like, what WTF? But that being said, I do like the tone of this season. I like the feel of it. I feel like they are churning out some very good episodes. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it this week's episode, and there's been 2 episodes this season that I've absolutely loved, and that was this episode, and it was the episode with the Vitra. the one episode, was it
So
2?
you liked both Scary Poppins episodes.
Yeah, I stand the Scary Poppins episodes. Not for her, just because I thought they were well written and well put together.
For me, I think it was episode 3 that I really liked, the one with the Lamia, and this one. So 3 and 5 to me are my
Yeah.
favorites.
Okie dokie. So, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, whatever you want to call it. We will be back next week with a review of the Tallyman,
Cometh,
which is the 6th. Yeah, I think it's the 6th episode.
6th
Is it?
episode. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll be back then. Thank you guys for watching, and feel free to subscribe, like, and share.
Follow us on Twitter at PO2_podcast, and follow us on Facebook, Charmed News, where we post all things Charmed. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.